Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, still sort of recovering from the final episode of Discovery and sort of reflecting on that. Wondering what to do next because we don't have any more Discovery. Because I kind of started my whole channel, like a lot of people, because they felt so against Discovery they had to speak out, and I think all collectively hoped that we could make studios aware of what was wrong with the show, and hopefully something would change or fix, or it'd be cancelled. And it eventually was after 5 seasons, but not because the studios or anyone really worked out there was a problem. Just it came down to finance. I think it was an expensive show. They had 2 expensive Star Trek shows, one that fans responded to better, and one with actors who'd been on longer who would have been have to be paid more to stay on and stuff. So I think it was a fairly financial decision. Paramount Plus is losing Paramount money every day, and I think it was just about cost. It's like, we only need 1 Star Trek show. I think is what it came down to. But I'm thinking of looking back at Discovery, and now it's over. Now the battle has been fought and lost. I feel like I can look at it perhaps a bit more objectively, without the threat and the urgency of trying to do something about it, because the damage is done. It has destroyed Star Trek permanently. It has, in effect, replaced it with a universe that doesn't have the utopian future that Gene Roddenberry created. It's now set so far in the future. The technology is not relatable. It's just magic, and nothing that was really enjoyable about the other show. Because Star Trek, the original, was far enough in the future we had all this technology we could use, but we could still relate to it. Whereas, 1,100 years in the future, whatever, it's not realistically, they just can't do it, and they have failed in doing that. For the most part, it seems just like, the 22nd, 23rd century, but there's just some weird differences they've thrown in to try and make it seem like it's 900 years in the future, but it's just not enough for it to work. And I don't think anyone really wants to see a future 1,100 years removed from now. It's just too far away from, what we would know and what we could relate to. If it was done properly, if it was really done probably by a visionary person who could sort of envision something like that and make it believable. That's not the production team of Discovery. And the production was good. I mean, quality-wise, they had the wrong idea about almost every element except the phasers and the communicators and stuff like that. They were the only thing that looked like Star Trek in the show. But it was still well done. And in the beginning, the first couple of seasons, when they had money, they actually, did some impressive sets and some impressive effects and stuff. Towards the end, they were clearly, the budget was lopped down quite a bit. And it's just a pity we never got a real Star Trek show with that big, streaming wars, let's fight with Netflix by producing really high quality shows to try and get subscribers. They really benefited from that, but, they didn't produce Star Trek. So it would have been amazing to have seen a Star Trek show produced on that amount of money. But still, as a generic science fiction show, a science fiction drama, which is what it is, it was still interesting to look at and watch. So I'm going to try and watch it objectively, and because there's also things I realised about the show later on, things that the haters were making out to be mistakes or flaws were actually, a deliberate artistic choice. They intended to depict a humanity where, stuff that isn't military and it's not based on basic patriarchal military male thinking. And there was a lot of interesting elements to that. The emotionalism, looking at those as a real part of humanity and something that we should bring into our decisions, not something we cut ourselves off from, like the sort of male patriarchal military sort of thinking. And just the intention that they wanted to focus on the characters. They wanted to step away from Star Trek and the formula that worked for that, and science fiction stories, and focus on just people in space, and progressiveness and diversity and representation. All those things they did well, but they're not Star Trek. Or at least they did interestingly. And the whole, it's bad writing, it's poor quality. Those are just dog whistles for people who, just want to discredit it because they hate it, because they hate representation, they hate diversity, they hate anything outside of the box, outside of the traditional patriarchal military sort of thinking. So there's some more interesting things happening in Discovery than we give it credit for. But again, they're not Star Trek. And my whole issue with the show has always been, it's not Star Trek. I want Star Trek. I'm getting something else. I'm happy to watch different science fiction shows that are different, but I want Star Trek to be Star Trek. And if it's not, then I've lost something. I don't have Star Trek to watch anymore. And a lot of fans get trashed for oh, you're ruining it for other people. Why can't you let other people enjoy it? Because what they're enjoying, I'm losing. Because of that, I'm missing something. And there's no reason why they can't watch other science fiction shows. Why they had to turn Star Trek into generic science fiction, future melodrama. They didn't have to do that. They could have kept Star Trek unique, its own thing, and had other series like that. They're not losing anything. We are. So that was sort of that reaction. So I am going to, I think, watch the series again. Maybe I'll just do season reviews instead of episode reviews, and try and be objective and find if there's any good qualities to it now that's sort of over and done. That's sort of what I'm thinking of doing. But yeah, I just want to talk about Discovery again for a minute because the more and more it settles in, the more reviews and things I hear from people, the more I sort of realise how much it did fail to really be a good Star Trek series and also to end well or anything. This tacked on ending with Discovery being just left for the Calypso to connect with the Calypso thing, which they could have just explained as an alternative universe, because all the short treks were just their own little universes really, so it wouldn't have mattered. But to do that as like a little mystery, and to spend so much time on that when they could have spent time sort of showing what happened to the crew, showing what happened to their careers, or they could have done a lot of things that would have benefited more than just Michael Burnham taking the ship out one last time, and just being all about her, because that's not, there are plenty of drama shows that's about one character. Star Trek was about a crew that was diverse, that represented humanity, and just her alone doesn't do that. So there's so many ways where it failed to be a Star Trek show. But as a show on its own, does it work? Does it have merit? Does it have value? I do want to explore that because I don't want to be one of those haters who just, doesn't think about it all. But we were at war with the show, so you couldn't give it any, So I do want to go back and look at it again and see if I was too harsh, or if there's anything that I missed or anything that I can enjoy now knowing what it is. And it's over, and like the battle has been fought and lost, as I said. And we basically lost because the show wasn't cancelled because it was wrong. They didn't change it to be Star Trek. It got cancelled because it was too expensive, and it had nothing to do with creativity or fans being respected or Star Trek being respected or anything like that. So maybe it's a stalemate. I don't know, but it feels like a failure. It feels like we had a war, we lost, and now it's over, and now we just need to try and move on with what they left behind. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, but let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.